record button. We're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. Now, this diagram is the roadmap to selling 75 homes a year. And what I want you to do is I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to take notes, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you draw this and create a blueprint for you to sell 75 homes a year. So at the top of the paper, I want you to write 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3. Just make them small because you're going to create more writing on this piece of paper. And it doesn't matter which order you put these in. I'll put them in the order that I work. And the first box is prospecting. This is a conversation on lead generation, going on appointments, and follow-up. And you can add build a database to that. And it's a conversation on how to create appointments, how to follow up to turn those into listing appointments, and how to add people to your database and get referrals from your relationships. So in the far left box, write the word prospecting. In the middle box, I want you to write marketing. And in the far right box, I want you to write repeat and referral business. Now, under prospecting, I want you to write 3 or 4 sources of prospecting that you are going to focus on in order to build your successful real estate business. Now, it doesn't have to be 4, it could be 3, okay? I don't want 10, because if you have 10 things on that list, you won't do any of them. If you have 3, you'll do all 3. And the 3 for me in today's market is work expired listings, circle prospect, and for sale by owners. And it's in that order. And the reason it's in that order is because as the market starts to cool off, and we're way past that moment, as fewer homes are selling and more listings are coming on the market, for sale by owners start to go away. You'll notice that, and I want you to change your focus. If it's been on for sale by owners, I want you to change it to expired listings first. We're going to come back to that in just a second. All right. Under marketing, for me, it's work my farm. It's market to my database. It's target market. In other words, I've got a group of people that I am targeting that are potentially the right people who are going to buy or sell a home, or it's an area of specialization that I'm passionate about. So for example, a target market can be people who are 60 years old or older, and they're getting ready for retirement. They're looking at their sources of passive income, and they're also looking at that final move, possibly to an assisted living facility. I want to work that particular group. Okay. Under repeat and referral business, this is from your sphere of influence. It's from your past clients, and it's from your raving fans. Now, sphere of influence is anybody that you know who knows you, who would potentially buy or sell real estate with you. So if you haven't started creating a database yet, then step 1 is create a database. In other words, start putting people in your database. If I asked you to get out your phone and I said, what's your contact list? Tell me everybody that you've got in here. If you're like most people, it's 500 people or more. Now, are all 500 of those in your sphere of influence? No, they're not. The ones that would be in your sphere of influence are friends, family members, people you know who know you. They know you're in real estate, and they would potentially buy or sell a home from you. Now, if they're not sphere of influence, then they go into the haven't met group, which is outside your database. And your job is to move them into your database as a new met. You may know them, their name may be in your phone, and you haven't spoken to them in a year. And the conversation to move people into your database is really simple. Clarissa, I haven't spoken in a while. By the way, this is John Dietz, and I like to keep my friends and family members updated on the market. You may or may not know I'm selling real estate, and the market is still good, and it's shifting. And I'd love to send you some information that I send to my friends and family members in order to provide value for you. Now, what that means is I'll send you an email maybe once a month. Every so often, I may mail a market update to your house, and I'll call like every 3 or 4 months just to check in. The goal here is to provide value. It's not to be a pest. Would it be okay if I added you to that group? Now, when Carissa says yes, she moves into that sphere of influence. She wasn't there before, but now she is. And my goal is to add one new person to that group every day. So if I talk to 10 people and I have the friends and family conversation with them, and 9 of them say, no, I don't want to be in that group, and 1 says yes, success. It's not failure. I didn't get turned down 9 times. I had 1 person say yes. It's absolutely key that you understand this. Okay, so we're moving 1 person into that sphere of influence group every single day. Now, past clients are people that you've worked with before, obviously, and there are people that you've worked with before that you would want to work with again. Now, pay attention to this. This is super important. If you have a past client who was a jerk and they were absolutely a pain in the rear end to work with, you don't want to work with them again. You also don't want referrals from those people because jerks refer jerks, and get them out of your database. The only past clients that go into your database are people that you want to work with again, and you're going to provide value to them. Holy cow, this is such a missed opportunity in the world, not just real estate. You know, the National Association of Realtors would tell you that only 16% of real estate agents follow up with buyers and sellers after the deal closed. If you've ever bought a car, you've experienced this. How many of you have bought a car and had the salesperson or even the company reach out to you once a quarter and just say, I'm checking in, seeing how you are. How's your car? Is there anything we can do for you? It's so simple. If they were to do that, and I've told car salespeople this before when I've bought a car, if you will simply follow up with me, I will be back. I promise you. I buy a new car every 3 years and I'll be back. And 60 years old, and nobody has ever followed up with me. There is just gold in this opportunity. You want to make sure that you're following up with your past clients. You have them on a drip campaign, so you're communicating with them 24, 36, 50 times a year. For those of you who are thinking, holy cow, 50 times, that's a lot. If you've ever bought anything from Amazon, check your email account. You're probably getting 2 or 3 emails a day from Amazon. And none of you have hit the reject button. None of you have hit the unsubscribe button. All right. It's not a lot. You're creating emotional proximity. You're creating top of mind so that when they think of real estate, they think of you. All right. Now you've got these 3 boxes and you've got a list of sources that you're going to focus on underneath each of these boxes. Let's get back to the drawing. Now, underneath that, I want you to write 250 times 20 equals 5,000. Now, what that represents is if you work 50 weeks a year and you work 5 days a week, you're in lead generation 5 days a week, then that's 250 days that you're in lead generation. Your standard, it's not a goal. It is a non-negotiable standard. You work for You Inc. and you are the CEO of You Inc. And if you don't have 20 conversations a day, you're going to fire you. Would you fire yourself? Would you hire you? If I told you in the chat, I'm going to hire somebody this week, I'm going to pay them $200,000 a year salary. And here's the job qualifications. You have to talk to 20 people a day. You have to schedule 1 face-to-face appointment a day. And you have to follow up with everybody that you meet with forever. That's it. Those are the job qualifications. Who would raise their hand and say, I want that job? A lot of us would. Well, you're the person, hire you to do this, and you'll earn more than $200,000 a year. And yet, why aren't you doing it? All right, 250 times 20 is 5,000 conversations. Now, you're speaking to expired listings. You're circle prospecting around a property that just sold. You are calling for sell by owners. Marketing, you're following up on all the leads that your farming creates. You're sending out golden letters to neighborhoods. It's creating leads. You've got lead aggregators that you're spending money on leads. You're following up on all of the leads that are coming up under marketing. And under your repeat and referral business, you've got 500 people in your database that you're communicating with once every 3 months. That means you're picking up the phone and having a conversation once every 3 months. And divide 500 by 60 days. How many people in your database do you need to communicate with every day in order to communicate with all of them at least once every 3 months? And that conversation is a simple Ford conversation. How's your family? How's work? Are you still working at XYZ? If I had a referral for you, are you accepting new clients? What's the best email address to send those referrals to? Hey, what are you doing for fun? I noticed that you went on a cruise. I saw it on Facebook. You went to the Bahamas. Did you have a great time? What was your favorite part? Hey, before I let you go, just a reminder, I work as a real estate agent, and my job is working with my friends and family members, and most of my business is by referral. So I'm just curious, who do you know that might be thinking of selling their home? All right, you've got 500 people in your database. You're having this conversation with every single one of them 4 times a year. You're going to get referrals. If you're not getting referrals, it's because you're not having the conversations. Now, back to this. When I am having these 5,000 conversations, I have 2 goals. Number 1, add people to my database. Number 2, schedule appointments with people who are thinking of selling their home, whether it's 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, or if a year from now, doesn't matter, because I'm looking for opportunity period, not just opportunity right now. And then part of that is follow-up, and I follow up forever in order to create emotional proximity so that when they get ready to sell their home, I'm closest to them. I might be the only person who's still hanging in there because everybody else has given up because they don't follow up. And what I want you to do is I want you to get out your calendars, and I wasn't planning on doing this, so hold on a second. Where's my calendar? I'll be back. I want you to use a paper calendar like this. I want you to be able to see the calendar, and I want you to be able to see the entire week at a time. If you're digital, that's fine, but I want you to get out a paper calendar in order to block your 20%. And at the top of that is lead generation. And I want you to block 3 hours every day. This is a couple of weeks from now or a month from now, it's blank. That's what I wanted to show you. I want you to block 3 hours every single day for lead generation. This is where you're going to have those 20 conversations every day that turn into 5,000 conversations over the next year. This is where you're going to do all of your follow-up with everybody that you met with. And it's the most important appointment on your calendar. I want you to work this with urgency. Now, I'm going to close with a conversation on urgency. If you've read my book, Rainmaker, if you haven't read it, please read it. And on page 7, I share a story in order to convey to the readers what urgency looks like. And then I ask, if you worked your business like this, what would your business look like? You see, we have a lot of distractions in our real estate business, and that's causing us to not stay in those productive activities because we're getting distracted. What would happen if you didn't get distracted? So when Colin, that's my son, 26 years old, was maybe 4, I don't know, maybe 5. We're at the Disney parade at Walt Disney in Orlando, Florida, and Colin and I are standing at one of the stores. It's nighttime, the parade is getting ready to start. He's standing right by my side, and I bought a couple hot dogs. And I look down at Colin and I say, "Hey buddy, what do you want on your hot dog?" He tells me what he wants on his hot dog. I look up 10 seconds to put whatever he said on his hot dog. I go to hand it to him and he's gone. He's not there. Panic. I immediately run outside, grab my wife who's hanging out with family, and I grab sisters and brothers and grandmothers and all of us. It's all hands on deck. Please write that down. It's all hands on deck. We have one job: find Colin. Nothing else matters. We are working with urgency to find Colin. We don't stop to check our phone to see if we had any text message. We don't look, oh, look, somebody sent me a Facebook like, I've got to read what they said. Oh, they said this. So no, we've got urgency. We have one job: find Colin. What if you weren't, we found, what if you went to work every day with that same urgency? You have one job, get a listing appointment today. What if you worked with that urgency? What would your business look like? All right, talk to me, guys. I know that was a lot, and I know that I spoke at the speed of sound.
So
sorry for that. Elena, talk to me.
So you mentioned in other videos, in other meetings, that you read 2-3 hours a day and then add 3 more hours of prospecting. And then, so what happens with those 3 hours of prospecting if something hits the fan, like with your clients, you know, inspections? Like today I have a showing, inspection, meeting another client, and then some clients take, you know, an hour to talk to, sometime, you know, and then before you know, your day is, and then a daycare calls and says you need to pick up your child because she's got fever or whatever. And then I don't get this, you know, one you know, I don't add that one person to database. Let's say if I added one day, I added five leads.
Hmm.
Can that count towards the other day, or
Yes.
or is that cheating?
No, it's fine. You can absolutely do that. What's cheating though is if you don't do daily lead generation. If you tell yourself, I've hit my standards for adding people to the database, I've hit my standards for getting appointments, so therefore I don't need to lead generate every day. It's a habit, and when you stop doing it, it's not a habit anymore. The way that I'm able to read 2 or 3 hours a day and lead generate 3 hours is morning ritual. And remember, I start super early. I start about 4 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, I'm not suggesting that you start at 4 a.m. What I am suggesting is that you block time, you have a morning ritual, you stick to that morning ritual. It's an appointment. The other thing that I would tell you, Elena, is if you erase, you must replace. So if something happens to get you out of lead generation and you have to erase part of that time, you have to replace it someplace else in your schedule. One more thing that I would recommend is draw 4 boxes just like that. And in the top left box, I want you to write urgent and important. Top left box, urgent and important. In the top right box, I want you to write not urgent and important. In the bottom left box, I want you to write urgent and not important. And then in the bottom right box, I want you to write not urgent and not important. Now, if you truly have something blow up, something hits the fan, right? You have an inspection that has to be handled, okay? That's quadrant 1. That's urgent and it's important. In other words, if you don't take care of it right now, you could lose the sale. The question I would ask you is it truly urgent and important? In other words, if you took care of it 3 hours from now, would it still be okay? Or do you have to stop what you're doing and take care of it right now? Is it a distraction that you can deal with later on, or is it a fire that you've got to put out? And my guess is a lot of times these things that are taking you out of lead generation are not truly urgent. They can be taken care of later on. There's also things that happen during your day that are urgent and not important. It's your phone ring and it's email lighting up. It's the person coming to your door and saying, got a minute, I need some help. It's things that are urgent to other people, not to you. And then not urgent and not important, those are the time wasters. Now, the most important box on this chart is the top right box, which is not urgent and important. Lead generation lives there. If you want to double your production, double the amount of time you're spending in quadrant 2, which is not urgent and not important. If you're thinking, holy cow, where do I get the time? Take it away from quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. And take that time and put it into quadrant 2. Did that help, Elena?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll keep working on it, I promise. Sarah, talk to me.
John, can you
Yes.
repeat those? Can you repeat those quadrants again, please? You were talking
Yeah.
kind of fast for me.
Yeah, I do that. Michelle, top left is urgent and important. Top right is not urgent and important. Bottom left is urgent and not important. Bottom right is not urgent, not important. I would carry that around with me, and when things happen during the day, I would ask, which box does this live in? If it's 3 and 4, ignore it. You're working with urgency, these things don't matter. If it's truly quadrant 1 and you truly have to deal with it right now, then do it. But if it takes you a half hour and you took a half hour away from lead generation, you got to replace that time somewhere else in your day.
Thank you.
You bet. Sarah, talk to me.
John, thank you so much for the opportunity. So one of the things that I learned when I made lead generating a priority was I didn't used to do a good job of time blocking, right? So if I had something under contract and the inspection was coming up, and it could be scheduled, my lead gen time was supposed to be from, start right at 8, from 8 to 11. And the inspection appointment was at 10. Okay, well, now I have an inspection that I have to go to. So what I learned to do was my lead generation time was not negotiable and I couldn't schedule anything there. So all of my appointments had to be in the afternoon. So if it was an inspection, hey, I'm available in the afternoon, and that's when it would have to get scheduled. All my closings got scheduled in the afternoon, and that's when they got scheduled. What we do as realtors is we don't realize how much control we have. Whatever time you put you time block for your lead gen. And by the way, 11 o'clock is not a good time to start your lead generation because everybody else already made the call. So 8 o'clock is okay to start, but that time is blocked off for everything else. Like during lead gen time, like my mother, who's 82 years old and is the reason I moved to Florida, knows not to, if she calls me between 8 a.m. and 11, it is, it's a 911 type of call. So we have to set those boundaries. And then as far as your morning routine is concerned, I coach a lot of women who are mothers who have children in school, and it's always, what are the times that you have that you could really start working? For a lot of them, a lot of us, it's 9 a.m. If you have school children, by the time you drop them off. So between that 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. is just totally focused on work. There's no doctor's appointments. Do your doctor's appointments after 2 p.m. There's no, that everything between 9 and 2 is your focused time for your business. And there are things you're going to have to leverage out, and it's okay. But the other thing that I wanted to share is I have a friend who, when she was a stay-at-home mom, she couldn't get up any earlier than 7 a.m. to rush out the door with the kids. All of a sudden, she went back to work, and now she calls me at 6:30 in the morning because at 6:30 in the morning, she's on the way to work. And I remember trying to coach her through getting up earlier so she didn't feel as rushed every morning, right? And she couldn't get up at 5 o'clock. Well, guess what? Not only can she get up at 5 a.m., but she's out the door dressed and ready to go on her commute at 6:30. So the stories we tell ourselves about what we can't do are the things that's what limits us.
Well said. You've heard me say it before, right? Write it down, write it down, write it down. Words of wisdom. Well done, Sarah. Thank you. Hey, Clarissa, you had your hand up. Robin, I'm coming to you in just a second. Clarissa, if you're still with us, please take the stage. Talk to me.
Well, no, because I suffer from that getting ready syndrome.
Yeah.
And never, most of the time, being moved into the action because life consumes me. So when you talk about the 3 hours of lead generation, you're including that script practice, making the phone calls, doing what's necessary to get the appointment.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, to answer your question, yes. I am,
And,
and keep going.
and it doesn't, like Sarah just said, and that's why I put my hand down, because Sarah was like, establish it in the morning, because you can start it at 8, but the people that I know that are in my database, they're in a classroom, they're preparing their work, they're not going to answer my phone calls, and they rarely do. So sometimes I have to switch it up, and my lead generation is not necessarily done in the morning time. It may be done, when school gets out for them, because they're teachers or administrators. So I guess I'm just trying to say it's difficult sometimes when that time blocking and lead generation.
Girl, I hear you. Yes, it's difficult. You're not looking for perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. Aim for perfection always, and you'll eventually hit excellence. And think progress. If you're currently averaging 2 or 3 contacts a day, then don't start with I'm making 20 contacts a day starting tomorrow. You're not going to succeed. You're going to fail. Start with I'm going from 3 contacts a day to 5. 5 is my commitment. I'm going to hit it, and then go from 5 to 8, and I'm going to hit it. Go from 8 to 12. Gradually increase your standard until 20 is a habit. Don't be so hard on yourself. You are, and I'm speaking directly to you, Clarissa, you are an amazing woman with amazing talent, an amazing heart, and hang in there, keep pounding the rock. It will eventually split, I promise.
Thank
Robin,
you.
Yeah, you got it, girl. Robin, talk to me. Heather, you're on deck.
Morning.
Good morning.
So I just was going to reiterate, so you don't really know me, but I'm a top producer, and I'm so glad you're teaching this. And what I always say is, I'm a top producer, but I'm not as top as you are. I do 25 million a year. I'm doing like 60 homes a year. You're doing 100, so I got lots to learn. But what I will say is, for me, I have always I have the word when I teach. I used to teach finding your business at Keller Williams in the Ignite class. And I would make people say to me, when I say the word lead generation, the key word they should say back to me is non-negotiable. It is a non-negotiable. It happens every day. And if you only do 5 today, if your goal is 20, you do 5 today, well, then tomorrow you do 15. And I keep a tally sheet, literally just it's just, a tally. And every day I cross it off. And if those are not, if I don't have 20, well, then I had whatever's left to the next day. And the key to it, I think, and I know you know this, is to put it in your database. Don't just do the lead gen. Put it in your database. But your goal, I'm loving absolutely everything you're saying. Thank you for sharing. I love it. And I love the box. I'm going to use that today. So thank you.
Got it, Robin. I'm learning from you. So thank you for being here. Heather, talk to me.
My aha with the Disney story was to have those raving fans that are working for you as well. So like you said, that the aunt and the grandma and everybody's actively looking for your child. My dad is one of those for me. If he hears anybody talking about real estate, he's immediately saying, my daughter's in real estate. So I think it's really important with your sphere is to find who your raving fans are and kind of let them know how they can work for you every day.
Thank you for saying that. I was hoping somebody would get that. If you rewound the tape and you heard me say, pay attention, this part is important. I said, all hands on deck. Well, all hands on deck also lives in your real estate business. And when you're not hitting your goal, the 15th of the month, you look at where you are. It's the 15th day protocol. And you look at where you are, you should at least be halfway to your goal by the 15th. And if you're not, then it's all hands on deck, which means I don't care what job description you have. If I have a team, whatever your job description was, it's now find listings. All of us are going to work together to find listings because listings drive our business. And what Heather said is just adopt people into that raving fan circle where people live who are raving fans of yours. They're advocates, they're salespeople for you without being a part of your team, and let them know, here's where I'm at. Here's the goal for the end of the month. If you know of anybody that's looking to buy or sell, please let me know and get them to be on board finding your son who's lost at Disney World with the same urgency to find that seller opportunity. All right, Robin, I'm going to go to Kiara first. She hasn't spoken yet, and then I'm coming back to you.
Hi, my name is Kiara. My mentor, Mel, actually signed me up for this program. I'm a new agent and I'm also new to Charlotte. So I'm trying to work to build my network. And so I hear you say a lot about talking to 20 people a day. I think for me, I kind of want to know, am I just talking to 20 random people a day? Or because I don't really have a sphere out here?
Okay, great question. And I'm going to give you a couple suggestions. By the way, I know we're over time, but I'm not going to stop as long as people are asking questions. I'm just going to keep going. Those agents who have been working with me for the last couple of years know that about me. I won't stop with your hand in the air. Kiara, I'm going to give you a couple ideas. Go knock on doors. Pick a neighborhood that you want to specialize in and start with one street. And your goal is to get everybody in that neighborhood in your database. And simply go to each door. Hey, my name is Kiara. I am a local expert in blank area or local expert for blank neighborhood. The market's still doing well and there's buyers looking for great homes like yours. And I'm just curious, who do you know that might be thinking of selling their home? Can't think of anybody. Thank you for taking a moment to think about that. Before I leave, one of my favorite scripts is before I leave, because it lets them know the conversation is almost over. Before I leave, I like to keep my friends and family members updated on the market. That simply means I send them really interesting information on the real estate market once a month. And I call like every 3 or 4 months just to stay in touch. Would it be okay if I added you to that group? Now, Kiara, if you're talking to 20 people and you're having that conversation with them, is anybody saying yes? Is anybody saying yes, add me to that group?
Eventually, yeah.
I'm talking per day. You're talking to 20 people a day. Out of 20 people, is somebody saying yes? Of course.
Yeah.
Kiara, that sounds great. I'd love to be in that group. They are. Now, hang in there with me. If you did this 50 weeks a year, 5 days a week, you've added 250 people to your database. Yes?
Yes.
So a year from now, we're not having a conversation about not having anybody in your database. You now have 250. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, anytime you're at a networking event, anytime you're at a party, anytime you're standing in line at Publix or Starbucks, wear your name tag everywhere you go. If you don't have a name tag, get one. That lets people know that you're a real estate agent. Wear shirts that announce that you're a real estate agent. And starting the conversation, I would say, hey, by the way, my name's John Dietz. I'm pointing at my name tag. As you can see, I'm a real estate agent. Is it okay if I ask you what your name is? Somebody's going to say yes. Somebody's going to say you're weird. Go away. Ignore them. Pay attention to the person who says yes. You follow it up with, by the way, I like to keep my friends and family members updated on the market. That simply means blah, blah, blah. Rest of the conversation. If you had 20 conversations with people like that every day, is somebody going to say yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that every single day. All right. Get on the phone and call for sell by owners and expireds. Is your home still for sale? Yes, it is. Before I hang up the phone with them, by the way, I like to keep my friends and family members updated on the market. Now, Kiara, you could add 2 or 3 people a day to your database, which means a year from now, we're not talking 250, we're talking 500 to 750. And do you know what the value of having 750 people in your database is? Approximately 10% of them are going to turn into a deal, either direct, they're going to work with you because they're going to move, or they know somebody who's going to move. And if I got 750 people in my database that I'm building relationships with, I'm adding value to, that's 75 sales at the end of the year. So Kiara, can you do that?
Yes.
All right. Did that help?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, go get it.
So another quick question, when you tell
Sure.
them that you like to keep your friends and family updated on the market, are
Mhm.
you simply just adding them? I guess, how are you updating them?
Oh, boy, that's another call. So you're going to put them on a drip campaign where you're communicating with them twice a month or 3 times a month, email, text message, letter to their home, mail to the
Okay.
mailbox, phone call once every 3 months. We'll talk drip campaigns one day. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
got
you
it,
so
girl.
much.
Yeah, 100%. All right. I don't see any more hands up. I think there was a few and they gave up. Sorry about that. And I hope you guys got great value today. You asked really good questions. Hopefully you got your money's worth. Don't forget it was free.
It was amazing. Great job, man.
Okay. And I did put in the chat that if you're interested in Rainmaker Plus, please put your email in the chat. There's a lot of you who weren't here yesterday. Just a quick explanation on what Rainmaker Plus is. It's going to be an additional half-hour call every day. It's nothing but role play scripts. And it's not fun, it's hard. My job is to be hard on you so you master these conversations. It's also going to be a by invitation only Facebook page where all of my videos are going to live in the future. The videos that are on YouTube, most of them are going to go away. The recordings from this call will not go on YouTube anymore. They're going to live in this private space. And it's also an app for coaching that you can ask any question you want, and it's on-demand coaching. You'll get a response within 60 seconds. There's going to be a lot of other tools on the app as well. All right. Sarah, talk to me. Take us out.
So I have one question about the Rainmaker,
Uh-huh.
because I'm always having people go buy it on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
How many more copies do you have? Because I know we sold out of Scripts for Success, and I just want to make sure
Yeah,
that
Scripts
I
for
go buy
Success
the last 100.
Scripts for Success was in print for 10 years or 8 years. It's not a matter of how many are left because Amazon will keep printing them, or the publisher will keep printing them. Amazon keeps buying them, the publisher keeps printing them. And I don't have any notification from the publisher that they're stopping print. So there's an unlimited supply of Rainmaker. We need to
Yes.
republish Scripts for Success. You and I have talked about that. So we'll work on that.
Thank you.
You got it, girl. Mary Lou, talk to me.
What if you don't have Facebook? How would we be able to get this information?
That somebody's laughing because they're thinking get Facebook, right? Mary Lou, get Facebook.
I have it. I just keep getting hacked and I keep getting disabled, and I've been going through a lot of feelings and emotions because I have like 2,000 people, friends, and I just, anyway, so that's a whole
Got it.
long thing. So what
Got it.
if?
Everything that's going to be on that private Facebook page will also be on my app.
Wow. Where's
So
royalty?
you'll access that information. Hold on a second. We got talking going on in the background. All right. Mary Lou, there you are. I muted everybody. Take yourself off mute and talk to me. The information that will be on that private Facebook page will also be in the app. So you're covered. If you don't have a Facebook page, you still have access to everything that's a part of Rainmaker Plus. Sarah, you put your hand back up, or is it still up? Okay, down. All right, guys, that's it. I don't see any more hands. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being here today. Time to get to work. real quick version of what is work. Work is 20 conversations, or it's 10, or it's 5, whatever your standard is, hit your standard, don't settle for less. If your standard's 10 conversations a day and you stop at 9 because it's close enough, you didn't have the 10th conversation, which could have been $1 million listing that you didn't get simply because you didn't have the conversation. If your standard is to knock on 10 doors, then knock on 10 doors. Don't stop at 8 or stop at 9 because it's hot, because you're tired. Keep going, because the 9th door, the 10th door could have been $1 million listing that you didn't get because you simply didn't knock on the door. It's find somebody today that's thinking of selling their home, whether it's 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, it doesn't matter, because you're looking for opportunity, period, not just opportunity right now. Meet with somebody every day that's thinking of selling their home, and then follow up forever in order to create emotional proximity, because you reject rejection, because no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Remember, people will never change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. And when you follow up forever, you create emotional proximity. So when they make a new decision based on new information, that new decision will lead to hire you. All right, make it a great day, everybody.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. Have an amazing day.
All
Have
right.
a beautiful day, family.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Good to see you, Victoria. All right, guys, make it a great day.